Joining us tonight, Major General S.G. Vombatkare, one of the signatories to that open letter. We're also joined by Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, Colonel Ajay Shukla, Vikramjit Banerjee, Advocate and of the Supreme Court of India and part of the BJP's legal cell, is also with us on the program tonight. But Major General Vombatkare, let me begin with you. Why did you and your fellow signatories, 146 of them, feel the need to write this letter?
Well, we were concerned with the happening across the country and so we wrote the letter.
Let me just quote in a little bit of detail what this letter says. What is happening in our country today strikes at all that the armed forces and indeed our constitution stand for. We are witness to unprecedented attacks on society at large by the relentless vigilantism of self-appointed protectors of Hinduism. We condemn the targeting of Muslims and Dalits. Now, Major General Vombatkare, already, as far as social media goes, as far as people who are now speaking out against this letter that has been written by armed forces veterans, they're all saying, why pick out Muslims and veterans? Why say that this is only about Hinduism? We're hearing the whole whataboutery argument. What about Ayub Pandit, the cop in Srinagar who was killed? What about the RSS worker in Kerala who was murdered? How do you respond to them?
All those are wrong. All violence by any group whichsoever is wrong. But what we are seeing to a large extent in society all around, in all the states, is the problem due to cow vigilantism.
Well, that's a fair point that's being made, and according to India's spend, based on media reports this year, there is a statistic that 2017 is on track to be the worst year for cow-related violence, according to the data that's been compiled. But Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, you are not a signatory to this letter. You feel, in fact, that armed forces personnel serving or retired should not have been signatories to such a letter at all. Why do you say that?
See, there could be many views, and the Major General there on the channel has got his view, is perfectly entitled to have it. My own view is this, that if any individual who is retired from the defense services has got every right to join a political party and follow a political career, I have no objection to that. But what I do not appreciate, and it is my personal view, it may not be the view of the others, that to create a group of ex-servicemen, to create an atmosphere of political rivalry or political support to a particular cause like Dalits or like cow vigilantism and such like issues, I don't think it's a good idea. The armed forces right from day one are ingrained into us that we should remain apolitical, away from politics. And I think it's best for ex-servicemen to also stay away from politics. And if you do wish to join politics as an individual, join a political party and feel free to do that. But to create a small group of 50, 60, 100 people and to try and create an atmosphere of kind of a political backing to a certain concept or a certain set of people.
Okay, but Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, pardon me for interrupting.
I don't support this.
Pardon me for interrupting, but Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, they also make it very clear in their letter that they have no political affiliations whatsoever. They are saying what they're doing is upholding the values of the Constitution.
Perfectly all right in their saying, and I don't deny that. But I still feel that this is what the agenda for some political parties is. While these people may not be wanting to follow a political agenda of a particular political party or a political group or a political set of people, but it actually means that finally they are supporting the same view. So if as individual you want to write about it, as an individual you want to talk about
I want Major General Vombatkare to respond to that. Why did you feel... Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad asks, why did you not, all of you, write as civilians? Why did you write as armed forces veterans? Do you believe he has a point to make?
Exactly.
He has a fair point there?
No, that is the General's personal opinion, and I cannot dispute that. If he holds that opinion, that's his opinion. But it is not that we have got together and we are supporting a political cause. Just because we are saying that the Dalits and the Adivasis and the Muslims are being targeted doesn't mean that we are subscribing to the policy of any political party. Not at all.
Ajay Shukla, is this going to silence the trolls who always invoke the soldiers at the border every time any kind of criticism is leveled against the government? Or are these armed forces veterans also going to end up being sort of labelled anti-national as everyone else has so far?
Well, couple of points. First of all, as General Shankar Prasad said, the military is supposed to be apolitical, but that does not mean that it is supposed to be non-political. There's a clear difference. Military people are entitled to hold political views. They are entitled, indeed encouraged, to vote. There are mechanisms in place to make sure that they vote, and therefore for a military serving personnel, and in fact in this case retired personnel, to hold political views is hardly sort of something that anybody can criticize or point a finger at. Secondly, the military has been traditionally one of the most secular and non-combative amongst religions institutions in the country, and therefore for them to see a climate of political intolerance or a climate of religious intolerance or non-secularism is something that is likely to bite deeper than it would bite other people as well. I think that there is absolutely nothing wrong in this letter being written. Given the circumstances, I don't think, and I'm sort of giving my own political view over here, I don't think this letter is necessarily a criticism of the BJP.
Right.
The Congress can be accused of playing the political card as much as the BJP is doing today. Well, maybe not as much, but certainly to a very, very reprehensible degree. So these people would be very justified in saying that this is only a continuation of that divisive politics that came about earlier in the political
and there's
thing.
a particularly telling paragraph here where the letter says the armed forces stand for unity and diversity. Differences in religion, language, caste, culture or any other marker of belonging have not mattered to the cohesion of the armed forces who have fought shoulder to shoulder in the defense of our nation. Clearly this is a matter of anguish to these armed forces veterans. Why should they not speak out? Vikramjit.
No, there are two questions, and of course, as I agree with what the General said, that every individual has the right to freedom of speech. They can exercise it, they can say it, say whatever they believe and hold whatever political views they believe. But there are sort of three questions which need to be asked here. Is why organize it as a veterans movement?
And
why come on television with a military cap on? Is it to show that it is a view which therefore represents the military forces, first? Second question, why bring it up now, especially when the Indian armed forces is facing action on two sides of the border?
Well, you know, I'm sure Major General Bombarkar would also have a response to this.
Let me finish.
Yes, okay,
and then, of course,
go
I heard
go
that.
ahead.
And third, it's also to be seen as to who are the people behind it. Because I could see one of the names was controversial, was to say the least, Admiral Ramdas. And Admiral Ramdas has very clear political views. And he's also signatory, and he has been members of political parties. So I see his name also as one of the signatories. So it's quite apparent what the agenda is.
Okay, Ajay Shukla, you have a response to that clearly. You know, there is a stated position in this letter that nobody is actually referring to their political affiliations in any way whatsoever. But clearly that's not something you're convinced by.
I think Vikramjit has put it squarely the way it is. You know, to start arguing that why is this letter been written at a time when we are facing threats on two fronts. You know, national security is the last recourse of a scoundrel. And therefore, to start arguing, and this is the standard BJP argument, that anybody who criticizes the Hindutva agenda is anti-national in some respect. This is a clear manifestation of that. And to say that somebody whose name figures amongst the list of people who have signed this letter has identifiable and identified political views is therefore somehow discredited is tantamount to saying that because I am arguing on behalf of the BJP and I am a legal representative of the BJP, I am discredited as well.